Hey, good morning and welcome to Destigmatize Me Live. Well, you've got both girls here. You've got Jules and you have Sarah. Can you swipe for me so we can see people coming in?
You can see it right there.
Oh, can you? I thought you had to swipe first.
No.
Okay. Well, this morning I want to do a recap real quick of last Monday and then go over Walk the Walk, which is today's talk. So you can't just talk the talk, you have to walk the walk. But Monday was Calculate the Crash. And that's really something you have to do, especially when you have a child that is highly anxious or you can feel the mood amping up, and to not react. Because it's really important not to react, which means to redo what they are doing and do it back to them. So just to calculate and go back to calculate the crash, let's go through that circle that you go through, that in every situation it starts with fear, goes to control, which goes to anger, which goes to fight. So if you can figure out the fear, you can stop that whole cycle, all right? And then the 3 points we went through was conflict, context, and communication. So it's really important, hi baby, it's really important to know what the conflict is so that you can put it in the right context, and the solution then is communication. We're outside, as you can see, and the dogs are like, ooh, we want your attention. Yeah. So you may hear them barking and they may want to be distracting. Luckily, we have a great dog whisperer here. Her name is Sarah. So she is awesome with the dogs. So that was on Monday. So if you haven't seen, what is that? Calculate the Crash, go back and watch it. It's on our page. Right now it's pinned to the top. When we're done with this, it'll be the one right below it. So go back and watch that. From what I've heard from other viewers, each video has a nugget of wisdom that they all walk away with. So it's whatever nugget works for you. And I would love to hear that below so we can know, what it is that you'd like to hear about, what it is that you'd like for us to talk about. So today is Walk the Walk. And basically, ladies and gentlemen, that means you can't just talk the talk. You cannot look at your kids and say, do as I say, not as I do, because let's be honest, that's bullshit. No one's gonna follow what you say. They're gonna follow what you do. Because what's that old saying? Actions speak louder than words. Yeah, the same holds true as being a parent. So today we're gonna go over 3 points. So we're gonna talk about being wholehearted in our application, our willingness, and how that is worthwhile. And the solution is basically practice what you preach. So that's what we're gonna go through. If Jules wakes up on time, she's awake but not really. She'll chime in as I'm monologuing. All right. So let's first talk about what really happens. If you aren't walking the walk. If you are just telling your child to do something and not doing it yourself, they're gonna have no respect for you at all. I know this happens in our home. For example, my husband is, he's really messy, and he likes to leave things everywhere and all over. Major. But then he wants to tell the kids to pick things up. It doesn't work. They don't respect when he says, will you please pick this up? Because they're like, you don't pick your stuff up. Why should I listen to you? Watch the dogs.
I know. Why are they outside?
We'll put them in.
Because I want to be outside.
So that is an issue. If you can't walk the walk yourself, do not ask your children to do it. It doesn't work. They will have zero respect for you. They will listen to nothing. They will listen to nothing you say. Okay, so I guess I have to go this way. Swipe left. Sorry, guys.
That's right, Mom.
I don't know the difference of my right to my lefts.
Oh, so you're me.
Yeah, not this morning. See, this is live outside with 2 kids and 2 dogs. Welcome to our crazy life. So anyway, today is Walk the Walk. So let's talk about that. So if, as the parent, you're not willing to do what you say, you can't be their wayfinder. Take him out, please. Try cookies. They really like cookies, like every dog likes cookies. So, excuse our very liveness. I did warn you on the first one that you never know what's going to happen, and that's today. Hey, good morning. Can you click it so I can see?
They can't. It doesn't show you.
It should show you what they say.
They have their friends who follow you.
Ah, okay. Well, if you like what you're seeing, you have to follow me or friend me, because apparently that's the only way I can see what you're saying. I don't know anything about that. She's my tech girl.
No, that's the only way you can see who they are.
Oh. Well, anyway, help me with this. So, if you want to be...
Swipe.
Well, good morning, Jackie. Look,
See
see,
what they say.
she is my perfect text person. This is why I have a teenager here. I love cookies too. I love gluten-free cookies because that's all I can have. So, back to Walk the Walk, because boy, it's a distracting morning. In order to help ease someone's anxiety, okay, and give them like a mental destination. So let's call that the GPS for anxiety. If you don't walk the walk yourself with your child, they're not going to be able to follow you. You are their wayfinder. You are the one that they look to show them through that darkness. At least if you have a good, hey, good morning, Harrison. If you have a good, oh look, now she comes over. She's like, yeah, the boyfriend's here. Hello, good morning. And she gets all smiley. Thank you, Harrison. So let's talk about that walk. Let's talk about being wholehearted in your parenting, being mindful in your parenting, because that's also really important. This isn't just about homeschooling or self-directed education. This is really about how do you get through to your child who suffers from anxiety and or depression. So, first of all, as the parent, you have to be wholehearted in your relationship. You cannot be half-assing it. You cannot be bullshitting it. And you really have to make up your mind. What is your position with your child? You know, if you are constantly going head to head because you're reacting out of fear, it's gonna suck. You can't start with always having fear, which is gonna lead to what? Control, which is gonna lead to anger, which is gonna lead to fights. If you do not stop that cycle, you're both gonna be reacting. You cannot be a wholehearted parent because you're constantly living in fear. And trust me, I really know what it's like to live in fear when your child suffers from anxiety or depression. She's self-harmed for what, 3, 4, 5 years?
From 14 to 17.
Okay, so the longest 3 years of my life, and she has now been clean 2.5, 3 years?
Yep.
All right. But we went through suicide attempts, we went through cutting, we went through anorexia. What else did we go through? PTSD, self-hate, a lot of negative talk. And when I reacted out of fear, all we'd do is clash. I couldn't be a wholehearted parent and walk the walk to show her how to get through, and I couldn't be her wayfinder if I too was lost and I was fearful. So I had to learn how to put myself aside. Did that help you when I did that?
Yeah.
All right. So if you listen to Mondays, you heard about calculating the crash and how communication was the solution. Now, how I talk with Jules is completely different than how I talk with Sarah. Jules is an in-your-face, I need to hear F you sort of person. Sarah, if I tried that, it would destroy her. So you also have to know how to communicate so that you can be wholehearted with that child. Super important. You can't use the same communication style with two different people. They are different people. Even twins are different people. All right? So that was point one. That's wholehearted. You have to put the fear aside and put yourself into it. No bullshit. And give it your all. You're gonna probably fall down a few times, but that's all right. If you're being honest and wholehearted, there's forgiveness on both sides. Okay? Hopefully you'll talk soon. The second part,
I don't know what I would say.
anything you want. The second part is willingness. All right, so you have to be willing to come out of your comfort zone as a parent and be willing to come out and not be the authority on everything, because you probably aren't the authority on how they're feeling. Hey Tia, good morning, my lovely lady. So we're just talking about the walk the walk right now. We're going over the 3 points, which are wholehearted, willingness, and worthwhile. So we just went through wholehearted, which is you really have to give it your all. You cannot bullshit it. You cannot tell your child to do as you say, but not as you do. That doesn't work. It never has. They won't listen.
Nope.
And if you cannot put your fear aside, then you cannot be a parent wholeheartedly with your child who's suffering with anxiety and depression. I know that you have some kids that suffer with that. I would love to hear your opinion on that, Tia. And Harrison, I know you also suffer from some anxiety. So if you have any hints or tips, please feel free, type it out. We're here. I'm sure Jules would love to read it. And whatever insight you have, that would be fabulous. So we're on point 2, which is willingness. And willingness is being willing to come out of your comfort zone. And as a parent, we are taught that we must be the authority on everything. We have to know everything. We have to be the one who tells someone else what to do. How can I tell her what to do with what's going on in her brain? I can't. I can offer suggestions. I can say, hey, this is what helped me. These are the tools you've learned. But I can't be the authority on her. Only she can be the authority on her. Yes? No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can try, but it's not gonna
No.
do
So
any good.
from the kid's point of view, what kind of willingness do you need to get out of your comfort zone? Because I have to get out of the comfort zone of I'm the authority. I tell you what to do, how to do it, when to do it. Because that makes me feel safe, because then I feel like I have control. So as a kid, what do you have to be willing to do, give up, to be?
As a kid, you have to give up having to be right all the time.
Ooh, yeah, and as a parent, you have to give that up too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to stop having your automatic response be dig your heels in the mud and say no.
You know, I find parents do that a lot too. Like if a kid keeps asking for something, they're just like automatically no.
Well, the kids learn from their parents.
Yeah, I agree. And it's kind of like, well, if I'm just saying no as a knee-jerk reaction,
Oh, thank you. For my hair color.
I'm never gonna be able to then give a yes.
True.
I think it's really, you also have to be willing to learn how to say yes and how to say no with a yes. And that sounds probably really confusing in the beginning, but let's say you want to go someplace, getting your tongue pierced. Great example. Okay, so yes, you want to get it pierced, but Rich and I were going away to go pick up something for my parents in Florida for one night. So the answer was, no, you cannot get it done today. Yes, you can get it done when I come back. So the reality was, honey, I'd love to be able to get you to do that. I need you here for 48 hours on point. I will take you when you come back, or when we come back. So it wasn't a no forever. It was just a no for right now. But it was a yes, we can still do this. Being able to work in those more yeses than nos is really important for you to be a wholehearted and willing parent. They need to see that you say yes more than no, because otherwise, when they hit the wall, why are they going to come to you if all you ever say is no?
And put you down.
Yeah, and make you feel stupid.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. Knowing why you're saying no instead of just no. Yes, that's really important why you say no. You know, kids get caught at age like 2 and 3. Why? 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 We used to joke that Sarah sounded like the seagulls from
Finding Nemo.
From Finding Nemo. Why? Why? Mine, 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 all the time. But that's because they really do want to know. And maybe you can't give them this big long explanation. But if you can phrase it in a way so that they have a better understanding of why something is happening, then do that so that, and explain to them, look, I'm going to give you the explanation now, but there will be times that there is no explanation. I just need you to listen. And when that's the case, please know it is super, super important. It is life or death. If I say run, don't say why. Okay? It means you really need to get the heck out of the house. It's on fire. Okay? Yeah. Harrison says, I hate people saying no without a reason. It's obnoxious. It's rude. It's demeaning. It's like, why don't I deserve to know why you're saying no?
Yeah.
What is your reason why you're saying no? Because obviously, if you feel secure enough to ask this question, then you should be able to handle the no. I can't think of any reason, any no that you couldn't handle. You may not like it. You may have a grown-up temper tantrum about it. But it doesn't mean you don't deserve to know why. Like, no without a reason is just...
No.
Know what it is? It's egotistical and it's about the parent.
Yes.
It's about them having control. It's not about no to the kid. 9 out of 10 times it's about them having control over you. Not being in relationship. It's about being a role.
Yep.
And if you are a role, you cannot have willingness to be in that relationship. You cannot walk the walk. You're just a role. Just like you go to school, you ask a teacher something, they say no. Well, their role is teacher. Their role is not relationship. It is not mother. It is not father. It is not invested in you. It is you have this amount of time together, and that's it. And that is their role. But as a parent and a child, you need to be in relationship with each other, not in role at each other for it to work. You can't walk the walk if you are in role at each other. And I know that's often what happens with Rich.
Yeah.
And he's working on that, and it's a whole work in progress, because let's get real, relationships are a work in progress. Okay? Yes. As she stares and nods, yes. It's hard. But it all comes back to communication, all right? So let's get to the third part, which is really the word worthwhile, okay? And worthwhile, when Jules and I sat down and talked about this, it was really, she said, the follow-through and implementation to fulfill the purpose. So if the purpose is to practice what you preach, everything that you do needs to then be worthwhile back to that relationship so that you can be willing to let down your guard. You can be willing to not be right. You can be willing to be able to mess up because you know wholeheartedly that person isn't going to bullshit you and look to her too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it takes work. It's not easy. And it's really hard sometimes being the parent of an anxious child. Sarah's driven me crazy for the last 48 hours. And she's been up my patootie and super anxious and needed to be looked at all the time. And it was really annoying. And I snapped at her yesterday morning because I really didn't want to deal with it again. I'd had enough. And I think, you know, being honest, she was able to come back and apologize to me. And I was able to go apologize to her. Woo! But we were both willing to not be the authority. And I think that's really, really important. So if you're tuning in and you're thinking that maybe you want to do self-directed learning, and how does this all parenting thing go into self-directed learning? Because some people who tune in really aren't interested in that. They want to know how to have a better relationship with their child that has anxiety. But if you're new to homeschooling, or you think you want to try out the self-directed learning, let me tell you how Walking the Walk ties back into that, okay? If you're not walking the walk with your child for this, they're not going to be able to do it. If you don't trust that they're going to be able to learn what they need to learn, when they need to learn it, how they need to learn it, they're not going to trust themselves. And, you know, if our job is to facilitate what they're passionate about and help them dig a little deeper, if we don't believe that they are able to have passions and dig deeper, they're not going to believe they can either. So you really have to walk it with them. I know Tia this week, she's on day 4 of deschooling, and last week she had just pulled her kids out and she did 4 days of school at home, and it was hell, from what she said. And this, you know, she's now gone to parks. We're going to meet up later this afternoon. They've gone to different things and done, you know, things where the kids are. I saw yesterday that they were meditating on mindfulness. Well, she had to trust. Yeah, isn't that cool? They wanted to know what they could do to be more mindful, and she took a picture of them meditating, which I thought was
cool.
I thought that was really, really cool. So she's teaching her kids at a young age to be mindful, to be aware of what's going on in their body. Guess what? She started to walk the walk. She started to be a wholehearted parent who was willing to say, I don't know what I'm doing. This isn't working. Let's pivot. And that's going to be totally worthwhile in their relationship, because once the kids get to the point where they can know that you trust them, they can trust themselves. But it starts from the parent down, guys. I'm sorry to tell you this. There is a hierarchy. If your parent doesn't trust you, you can't trust yourself. Because if you've been raised that way, it's not going to happen. Agree or disagree? Well, that sounds doubtful, so tell me more.
If you have a very strong personality, like you, if people say, no, you can't do that, or they doubt you, there are some people out there who will be, bring it on, I will show you wrong.
I wasn't always like that.
I know you weren't always like that, but there are some kids out there who are like that.
That's true.
So I don't think what you're saying can apply to everyone.
All right, so how should I rephrase it? See, here's a great example. I am willing to rephrase. How should I rephrase it?
Rephrase what?
That if it's not from the parent down, it won't work. So what would you like to change?
I don't know. I haven't had enough coffee.
Yeah, me neither. I'm hoping she'll talk more so I can drink some. I do have an ulterior motive. I kind of want my coffee. All right, so we'll go with if it's intrinsically in you or in your child to be an FU sort of kid.
Not really FU, more like
bring it on, I'll do it anyway.
Overly confident and headstrong.
My experience has been, if you are super anxious and you're suffering from depression and severe anxiety, in that moment, you may not be super confident and headstrong.
No, I know. But I have met a few people where when they are anxious, they do the opposite.
Oh, they get obstinate.
So
is that really then being self-initiative and trusting yourself, or is it just I'm going to do it anyway?
I don't know. I'm not that type of person.
Yeah, I know. I can tell you for myself, I was one of those. And it wasn't from a sense of self-confidence. It was from a sense of FU. I was angry. So there really wasn't any ability for me to even absorb anything because I was so obsessed with my anger and proving someone wrong rather than really caring about what I was doing or what I was learning. It was all about control. I can only speak for myself. So if Tia and Harrison have anything to say on that, please let me know. Type it below. What do you guys think? I mean, do you guys think that, you know, if you're trying to be authentic in your walk and you're trying to show others a way that is better, do you think that you have to do it yourself, or they should just do what you say?
Or a little bit of both.
Or a little bit of both? What do you guys think? I know you're there. I can see you.
Only one of them.
I know only one of them is there, but that one can answer. So quiet. You can hear the birds. So, anyway, since no one wants to answer that one right now, let's recap today, and then we'll wrap up, and then we will post tomorrow what Fridays is going to be. So, today was walk the walk, which basically means the solution is practice what you preach. Don't BS it. Don't do as I say, not as I do. It was you have to be wholehearted. So the 3 points were you have to be wholehearted. Oh, both? I don't know. Only half here. Have some more coffee with us, honey. See this wonderful mug, the turtle mug? I drink out of it every morning. So basically, you have to be wholehearted in your intentions. Okay, whether you are the child or you are the parent, you can't be bullshitting the other person. It doesn't work. It has to be authentic. You have to make up your mind. You have to make a decision, and you have to stick with it because it's going to take practice. All right. You have to be willing. That's the second point. Willingness to come out of your comfort zone. You have to be willing to admit that you were wrong. You have to be willing to apologize, authentically apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah, not
just kind of like an FU apology.
Yeah, like, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, no.
Or just like, I'm just gonna say this so that I can get my way.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just saying this because I should.
Yeah, that doesn't work. Because again, that's not wholehearted, and then if it's not wholehearted, the other person isn't going to receive it. They're gonna be like, yeah, well, F you too. And again, you go right back to that circle. And the last one is worthwhile. And it's worthwhile because when you follow through with this, you're able to implement and fulfill your promise, whether it's as the child or as the parent. And that's really important. So, once again, the whole thing is for the parent being the wayfinder, being the GPS for your child. If you don't walk it, they can't walk behind you, they can't walk next to you. They're just as lost then as you. And having two lost parties in the woods is kind of a bad thing. Okay. That's something I've learned, and it's not easy, but definitely helps the situation. What, being able to apologize, Harrison, and really meaning it? What have you learned? Because I know you've learned a lot of things. Being in a 3-year relationship, you know, from 16 to 19,
Almost 20.
yeah, almost 20, yeah, being able to apologize. Yeah, that's hard. I mean, really, being authentic at that age, because you're changing so fast,
Yeah.
you know, is really hard, because what's authentic on day 1 may not be authentic on day 365. You change, even in marriages and with adults, we change. Yeah, oh God, communication. Yeah, or lack thereof. I mean, you can really learn through lack thereof communication.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And it's really hard when both parties are going through that at the same time in the same house, isn't it? That's kind of hard. Yeah. The great news is then you better understand what the other person's going through. All right, so we're going to wrap up because we both need some more coffee. I need breakfast. She needs more coffee. It was awesome to see you. I hope you guys tune in on Friday. Don't know yet what we're going to talk about. Just going to give a quick plug here. The book is $2.99 on the website at destigmatize.me and goes live on Amazon for $4.99 for the Kindle version on Friday. So you can pre-reserve it if you'd like to. So you can go to Amazon, look up From Stress to Best, and pre-reserve your copy for Kindle. Today it'll be released on Friday. Otherwise, you can get the PDF version for just under $3 at the website destigmatize.me. Ask any questions you want below, and we will see you Friday morning. Bye-bye.